Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live news up here at Desawe in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I am Solis Rose Quarty. Let's take a look at the headlines for the next 60 minutes.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Opposition group Ghana First Patriotic Front gives government up to the end of the week to back out of U.S.-Ghana Defense Cooperation Agreement.
Supreme Court orders lawyers in the Muntie 3 amnesty case to file their legal arguments within 21 days.
Construction work on second phase of the Jokuku-Krowo Municipal Polyclinic at Nongwa here in Accra stalls following failure of the electricity company to relocate electricity poles on site.
And in business this evening, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, warns directors of collapsed UT Bank for failing to appear to answer questions on their roles in the collapse of the bank.
And on the international front, U.S. President Donald Trump keen to meet Kim Jong-un following the North Korean leader's trip to China.
All these are more coming up in the next 1 hour, including sports as well as entertainment. Don't forget that we are live on DSTV channel 279.
Let's go on to our first story this evening, where the Ghana Police Service is assuring the public of due process after charging the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, Koku Anyidoho, with treason. The NDC Deputy General Secretary was picked up by the police CID at a media briefing at the press center on Tuesday, March 27th. Koku Anyidoho, in an interview on an Accra-based FM station, that's Happy FM, suggested that President Akufo-Addo was likely to suffer the fate of his father, who was overthrown as president by a military coup in 1972. The police, in a statement, said it needed to clarify the issues, adding that the suspect has since been cautioned on offences related to causing fear and alarm and treason. The release, signed by Director General of the Police Public Relations Directorate, ACP David Eklu, urged the public to remain calm as they continue with investigations. Meanwhile, the police CID has secured a court warrant to search and scan Koku Anyidoho's phones, laptops and other electrical gadgets for evidence. Let's go to the telephone now. Sarah Paco is our reporter who has been at the BNI offices all throughout the day, and she's still there. Sarah, thank you for time this evening. What exactly is happening at the BNI offices where you are?
Well, Alfred, as we speak, there is calm. Almost every official at the BNI has left for their various houses. Initially, throughout the day, we had counsel for Mr. Koku Anyidoho, Mr. Maliba and Kojoga Adaudu, and one other member of the legal team whom I'm not quite familiar with. They came in, spent some hours and came out. And while interacting with them, they informed me actually that there was no need for them to go to court. So the CID is demanding a second statement. So they were going quickly to the CID headquarters and return so they can bail their clients out from the premises of the BNI. But as of now, I have still been waiting for them to return. They haven't. I called a while ago to find out what is happening, and to my surprise, they are informing me that the CID is requesting that their clients spend the night at the BNI premises because they need more time to complete investigations to ascertain the fact that what he said was not really a threat, and that he was just blabbing before they discharge him from their thoughts.
So are you saying that Koku Anyidoho, what you have heard, is going to spend a second night at the BNI offices or BNI cells?
Exactly. As I stand here, I'm just about a few meters away from the BNI premises. He's still there. He hasn't been brought out. His lawyers have also not returned to the place, and they have actually resigned to go home and rest and follow the case tomorrow. So he's still at the premises to spend a second night here.
Have you been able to, I mean, the lawyers who are there, did you speak with them sometime during the day? What exactly did they tell you about their efforts to get him bailed out?
Well, initially, they told me that the police haven't made any strong charges against their clients. So they were hoping that within the hours of 4 and 5, they were actually going to take him to secure a bail to take him back home. But it seems that their hands are turning. The issues, different angles are being developed as the hours go by. So they are confused themselves. He was telling me the police CID said they were yet to secure a court order to seize his gadgets, his laptops, to scroll through to find out whether they can find any other evidence to implicate him. And they weren't even aware that they had already secured a warrant to go to his premises to take all those items. So as it stands, we'll just hope that he doesn't spend the Easter break here, or by close of day tomorrow, he will be released.
Pretty interesting. Sarah, thank you for your time this evening. Sarah Paco is our reporter here at TV3 who spent the whole day from morning through to this time. She's still there at the BNI offices here in Accra. And she is telling us that all other things being equal, Koko Anyidoho will spend his second night at the BNI cells. To speak at the moment, the officials at the BNI have closed work for the day, but the lawyers are still making efforts to be able to get the CID to speak with them to grant or release their client. That's the information we're getting. Former President John Dramani Mahama also, we get information that has been meeting with the CID boss also to get some information as to what exactly the situation is and whether Koko Anyidoho will be released from the BNI officials as we speak at the moment. So that's the information we're getting. We're giving very clean, also close eye on what's happening there at the BNI offices, and we'll give you a lot more updates as we're able to get through from there. We have our men on the ground to bring you a lot more detail as and when it comes through. But as you might really be aware, the police now have released what is seen as a court warrant which grants them the search, the authority to search Koko Anyidoho's phones and his laptops as well. We're going to go on to the telephone lines very shortly and get through to the lawyer of Koko Anyidoho, one of the members of the council of Koko Anyidoho, last lawyer Victor Kojoga Dawudu, to give us a lot more detail so far. There are 3 persons who are speaking as Koko's lawyers. I'm talking about Abraham Amaliba, Chris Akome, lawyer Chris Akome, and lawyer Victor Kojoga Dawudu there now. So we'll give you a lot more detail very shortly as and when we come through with some more here on TV3. So still join us with your thoughts, your views, your comments and opinions in the WhatsApp number as well on Facebook and also on Twitter and our various social media platforms. That's where you can get through with us and share your thoughts with us on the issues that's coming through. So that's the information that we're getting at the moment, with the police also indicating that they are not able to release Koko Anyidoho if they haven't been given that directive to do so. So that's the information that we're getting now. Also, to find out exactly what Koko Anyidoho's state is. Now, Victor Kojoga Dawudu is the lawyer for the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. He joins me on the telephone. Thank you for your time, Lawyer Dawudu. Now, what is Koko Anyidoho's state as we speak?
Thank you, and good evening to your cherished viewers. I think as at now, the police have not granted us the bail we have asked for. And they said that they want to act within the 48 hours that has been stipulated or granted them by the Constitution. So for them, when they reckon scrutinize the time, or the time that he was arrested yesterday was around 1 o'clock. That would mean that the 48 hours would elapse by tomorrow, 1 o'clock. So that's what they have said, that they have that backing of the law to work within that. That when you detain somebody within 48 hours, is either you send him to court or you grant him bail. So tentatively, it just tells you that they are not in the position to grant us bail until that time. So
he's going to spend the second night at the BNI cells? Let's just confirm that.
Oh, yes. Yes, finally we had access to him, and we were informed that he was at the BNI cells at the headquarters there. So we've seen him. He's healthy, he's ill, and he's fine.
I see. I was asking about his state. I mean, his demeanor. How's he looking? How's he feeling? What is he saying to you? Does he express any regrets about what he said?
No, not at all. I think that he was okay. He was fine. All that he was saying was that things that we've been reading or we hear about, that some leaders have gone through cells. They were arrested for reasons, for one or the other reasons. He's experiencing that anytime he read that, he has not had that experience. But this has been an eye-opener to him. He's experienced it. And when he's writing his memoir one day, I think these are experiences that he will put in. And he's come very close to the police also when it comes to the investigation and all the way they do things with the BNI. He now is getting an in-depth understanding of how they operate. So that will inform him very well. And I think he's in good spirits.
I see. But has his phones and any of his electrical gadgets been searched as yet?
Not yet. What I know is that one of his phones that he gave out as a lawyer I was holding, we left it on the table and one of the police officers picked it. Okay. I think that's the phone that the police picked and is having. Okay. The rest, no, they went to his house yesterday, it was searched. No gadget, any other thing was searched. So now, if now they go to court and they say they want to search all gadgets, then what is the motive? What were you looking for when you went to do a search? And now you think that you want to go to court and get the order. So was there a probable and reasonable cause for you to do what you were doing? Now you want to legitimize what you have done. No, I don't think we have anything to hide. So we will leave them to do their work.
Right.
We cannot interfere with their investigation. So we will leave them to do what they want to do.
Thank you, lawyer. Victor Kojoga Adawodo is one of the legal counsel for Koko Anyedo, who is the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC.
Let's move on to some other stories. And the all-opposition political party group Ghana First Patriotic Front has given government by the end of this week to back out of the Defense Cooperation Agreement with the United States of America. The group took to some principal streets of Accra to protest the agreement, which they believe will permit the U.S. military to use Ghana as a base for staging and deploying forces.
Obra Sport at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange was the converging point for the protesters. Members and leaders of the main opposition party, National Democratic Congress, dominated. For them, the agreement undermines the security and stability of Ghana.
This is an agreement that just surrenders Ghana. Ghana just becomes a colony. It amounts to recolonization. And that is why Ghanaians are united. Former President Rawlings has spoken. Professor Akil Akpasoya, former member of the Council of State, professor of law, having looked at the agreement, he says that he is particularly frightened and he feels embarrassed as a Ghanaian.
Former Minister of Trade and Industry, Akosua Gabra, noted Parliament should not have ratified the agreement since it touches on Ghana's sovereignty.
Ghana has had different kinds of military cooperation with the UK, with India, the United States and many other countries, and we think it should continue. But Ghana, as a sovereign country, should have the right, when it grants permission to anybody to do anything on our soil, whether it is for oil exploration, mineral exploration, landing your planes for commercial purposes or for military purposes, to inspect, to monitor, to review what you are doing and make sure that you are conforming to the laws of this country.
Leaders of other political parties shared the same view.
What kind of agreement is this? Is this agreement really signed by Ghanaians who claim to protect our sovereignty, who claim to defend our country, who claim to be parliamentarians of our nation? And they are representing us in parliament. This is the parliament. This you see today is parliament. They are the people who say we don't want it. So the parliament is here today, not those in Parliament House who do not know what they are doing.
President is not the harbinger of knowledge. The president is not the storehouse of all knowledge. So the president can make mistakes in his judgment. And if he makes mistakes, it is important for citizens to draw his attention that there is a mistake. He is president of Ghana, not president of the Gold Coast.
Protesters vehemently kicked against the agreement.
Any country they enter, you are in trouble. We want to live in peace. Even there are more Ghanaians who can produce 100 million cash. So why the whole security installation? We don't want it. We want Grandpa, we beg Grandpa to leave us alone, to live in peace.
From the Brasport, the protesters continued through the Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, the Farisco traffic light, TUC, Yoko, and ended at the Hearts Park, where they were addressed by their leaders. The police expressed satisfaction at the cooperation by the protesters.
I remember where we got to the Farisco traffic lights. Even some of them wanted to, go through the Central Business District. And we saw the leadership even trying to divert them onto the agreed routes, and these are commendable.
Organizers, the Ghana First Patriotic Front, is demanding that government backs out the deal, which it says is inimical to the security and stability of the country. TV3, Kwabna.
Now, the Supreme Court has ordered lawyers in the case in which the constitutionality of former President Mahama's decision to grant amnesty to the 3 Muntie FM panelists is being challenged to, within 21 days, file their legal arguments. This was after the lawyers had complied with an earlier order directed at them to file their memorandum of issues.
20 adjourned the case following a delay in the filing of memorandum of issues by the lawyers. However, in court on Wednesday, counsel for one of the applicants, Dr. Enos Osudapa, told the court he had filed the memorandum of issues and prayed the Apex court to adopt same. His plea was granted and the court adopted the memorandum of issues filed. The court therefore ordered the parties to file their legal argument simultaneously within 21 days. The Apex court in 2017 ordered the consolidation of 3 separate suits challenging the constitutionality of former President Dramani Mahama granting amnesty to the 3 Muntie radio panelists Alistair Nelson, Godwin Akogan, and Salif Umasi aka Mugabe. In the view of the 7-member panel of judges presided over by Justice Sophia Adinra, the issues raised in the various cases are identical. She stated that all the cases filed by the various plaintiffs were seeking an interpretation of Article 72 of the 1992 Constitution, a reason the court finds it expedient to consolidate the cases. Nana Santibeditu Elikblim Agbamava and Alfred Tia Yeboah had filed the suit at the Apex Court challenging the rightfulness of ex-President Mahama to free the 3 panelists. In the case of Nana Santibeditu, the plaintiffs, amongst other reliefs, are seeking a declaration that the president's action at the time was unconstitutional and also a further order to have the Muntie 3 serve their sentences in full.
And now for MTN Video Report this evening, Gabriel Sayadumako reports on the deteriorating state of an overpass constructed over the railway line in Kumasi some years ago.
As you can see, in front of me here is the overpass which was constructed over the railway line in Kumasi many years ago. As you can see, the structure is a danger to the inhabitants of this area, most especially the traders. And if something is not done about it, danger is almost to come. From Kumasi, this is Gabriel Oseyadumako, TV3 citizen journalist.
Well, you can also send your video report via WhatsApp on 055-1433-044. Once again, 055-1433-044.
Still to come tonight. Construction work on second phase of Lejokukukro Municipal Polyclinic at Nungwa in Accra stalls following failure of electricity company to relocate electricity poles on site.
And in business, economic and organized crime office IOCO warns the directors of the collapsed UT Bank for failing to appear to answer questions on their roles in the collapse of the bank.
And on the foreign front tonight, U.S. President Donald Trump keen to meet Kim Jong-un following the North Korean leader's trip to China. We're back shortly with some business. Do stay.
Welcome back to News 360. It's now time for some business news updates. Let's start off from the banking sector, where the former directors of the defunct UT Bank did not appear before the Economic and Organized Crime Office IOCO, despite a public summon. Now, directors of UT Bank were to appear before the acting executive director of IOCO at 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday, while the directors of Capital Bank are to appear on April 4, 2018. Now, Executive Director of IOCO, KK Amwa, said his team will take the next step of action since the directors failed to report by the 5 p.m. deadline. But the directors of UT Bank say they did not receive any invitation from IOCO. Now, former directors of Capital Bank, which also collapsed alongside UT Bank, will also appear before IOCO next Wednesday. The two banks were taken over by the Bank of Ghana in 2017 and subsequently handed over to GCB Bank. The liabilities of the banks, according to the central bank, overwhelmed their assets, leaving them with no option but to undertake a purchase and assumption transaction as the least costly method of dealing with a collapse. Following findings of an investigative report, IOCO said it is probing further into the issues surrounding the liquidation, but it is having difficulties reaching the directors of the collapsed banks. But the investigation is yet to start in full force, and this is according to the IOCO boss. And now in other business news, Ghana is broke and is headed towards a disaster if immediate measures are not taken through either raising revenue or cutting expenditure or doing both. Now, these were the words of the CEO of Dalex Finance, Kenneth Thompson, at the annual CIMG Evening Encounter in Accra.
Speaking at the CIMG hosted event, Ken Thompson hypothetically engaged in the conversation with the Minister of Finance, Ken Oforiatta, whose portrait was placed near him on the podium. The conversation touched on all aspects of the economy, particularly on the state of the city, Ghana's debt stock, and the need to raise revenue. According to Ken Thompson, government must face reality and stop borrowing, as it is already saddled with interest payments on its debts.
Stop borrowing. You've got to stop borrowing. It's got to stop. You can't borrow to fund recurrent expenditure. You can't borrow to fund army uniform. I mean, what's wrong with you? Stop borrowing.
Referring to the Minister of Finance, Axinia, he asked him to be decisive and take tough decisions as 2 billion cedis worth of food cannot be continued to be imported into the country annually.
The decisions must be tough. We've got to have choices. We can't do everything. You know, even when I looked at your budget, I saw that 3HS, you borrowed money for it. But that's not right. But you know, you understand your numbers more than me because everything there is debt. Because if 100% of your money was spent on 3 things, and you've said you've done a program, then that means you borrowed. No good.
He reckoned agriculture as a silver bullet, which will bring about solutions to Ghana's economic challenges only if government will make it attractive to the youth.
Senior, for as long as the hoe and cutlass is associated with agriculture, they won't do it. For so long as they think that going on a farm is like going to Siberia, they're not going to do it. But we have to make agric sexy.
Another solution he offered to the Minister of Finance, who was present but could not speak, was the need to take revenue mobilization serious, especially the enforcement in property tax payment.
Taxes must go up. Go after property tax with a vengeance. That national idea and that one next year, but now let's do property tax. Let's do property tax. Let's do the things that we can do now.
The CIMG is a leading professional marketing organization established in 1981 and dedicated towards the promotion, training, and practicing of the marketing profession.
And now to some real estate business. And Star Properties and Lakeside Estates will launch a large-scale urban development in Accra. The futuristic project called Star Home is aimed at delivering the best of technology and luxury.
Star Home is a gated community within the Lakeside Estate. To be developed into 2 phases, it will be a symbolism of modernity and cater for luxury living for families looking for comfort, safety and technology in a modern community.
It's designed for the modern Ghanaian family. It has a 4-bedroom with, and essentially in the center of it, it has the Great Hall. The Great Hall is a double volume building looking inside and outside where you can see the sky, you can see the grass, you can even see the swimming pool. The other technology, advanced modern technology, which we have done into the house is that we have used inverter ACs with a VRV systems. We have put a high definition security system. The building has a local area network. It's connected to a fiber, MTN fiber done by Uton. It also, all the windows, there are Enterplast high security and safety windows. We also have put the solar panels, 6,000 watt solar panels, solar water heating, among other things.
The property will feature community amenities including schools, police stations, shopping, business and recreational centers. It will also have a covered modern flood controlling drainage system. The external infrastructure will be built by Lakeside Estate. Marketing Director of Lakeside Properties, Lawrence De Souza, said Star Properties is driven by the need to create reliable social amenities.
Lakeside spans over 2,900 acres of land. We can boast of our award-winning recreational park, Lakeside Marina Park. Security is of concern to every growing community. So we have 2 police stations over here. We also have educational institutions. We have the Medina Institute of Science and Technology. We have the Angel's Pride for beginners. We also have the Queen of Apostle Basic School. And our new institution joining us over here to help the development is the Lancaster University. At Lakeside Estate, we tailor-make our payment plan for our customers. Our new partner, Star Properties, are into building luxury houses to help solve the needs of the market, which Lakeside Estate is not solving at the moment.
Star Properties is a subsidiary of Silver Star Tower and specializes in high-end homes and serviced plots for individuals.
Well, that's all for business news this evening. Stay tuned for more news updates. Over to you, Alfred.
Solis, thank you for business. Well, President Akufo-Addo is saying that Ghana is determined to reposition her relations with the European Union to make it more effective to enhance development and bring prosperity to the citizenry. The president was speaking during a farewell courtesy call by the EU ambassador to Ghana, William Hanna, at the Flagstaff House.
The astute diplomat, Ambassador William Hanna, for the past 3.5 years, has helped improve EU trade and investment in the country and is confident Ghana-EU relations will be much stronger in the coming years.
The relationship between Ghana and the European Union is a very broad one. I think people know about the aid from the past, but we know that you want to go beyond aid, and we agree very much with that approach. So the aid is part of what we do, but not only what we do. But we've tried to work to ensure that that aid is more effective, more useful, and acts as a catalyst for development. That's been part of what we do. But I think we've been seeing also a broader economic context, looking at trade and investment. I was pleased that during my time here, it was decided to ratify the Economic Partnership Agreement.
President Akufo-Addo lauded his efforts at strengthening relations between Ghana and the EU and promised a repositioning of relations to enhance development.
We have been beneficiaries of a great deal of consideration, money, advice, institutional support across a broad area of our national life. And it has been an investment in Ghana from the EU that Ghanaians appreciate very much. We also appreciate the manner, the attitudes which have accompanied it, the demonstration on your part that you are dealing with a country that you want very much to see thrive, the determination to take on difficult issues. But all of it has been that we feel very comfortable dealing with the European Union.
The EU remains Ghana's biggest trade partner with over 2.3 billion euros of exports to that market in 2016 and 4.6 billion euros in foreign direct investment.
We'll be bringing you more news updates, so we'll take a breather. We'll be right back shortly. Stay with us. The Vice President has called on officials who work at the various ports across the African sub-region to properly inspect ships before they dock at the ports. Now, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is of the firm belief that this will reduce the influx of substandard ships and also address issues about illegal operations at the ports. He was speaking at the official opening of the 3rd Ministerial Conference of Abuja MOU on Port States Control in Accra.
The Abuja MOU on Port States Control was signed in 2016 by 22 West and Central African countries. The MOU seeks to promote safety at the ports and the need for African countries to recruit skilled manpower. The agreement, which bars the use of substandard ships at the ports and illegal operations, has however failed to critically address other pertinent issues such as vessel registration at the port. To review the agreement to meet global trends, stakeholders have organized a workshop to seek views on how to eliminate substandard vessels at the port. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia implored port officials sub-region to be vigilant.
I therefore encourage member states to tighten their nets when carrying out port state control inspections in order to ensure that all ships that call to do business at our ports are seaworthy and operate in accordance with the standards and regulations relating to maritime safety, security, and marine environment pollution prevention.
Minister of Transport Kweko Foresiama underscored the need to set up an audit unit in member countries to eliminate substandard ships.
And joining forces in data sharing, access to information, transparency, uniform and effective implementation of standards, we will leave no hiding place for substandard ships.
A representative of the International Maritime Organization, Lawrence Bachu, expressed concern about nefarious activities of some port officials.
Maritime activities do not become a haven for substandard ships.
Where a ship registry exists and there is no control of the condition of registration or proper mechanism to enforce the required standard on those ships, then appropriate action must be taken.
Recommendations after the conference are expected to enhance port activities to boost revenue.
Well, so we have some information just coming through from the ports, and the Ghanaian fishing vessel is reported to have been hijacked by some unknown persons believed to be pirates. Now, according to the owners of the vessel, World Maritime Company, the vessel was hijacked by pirates at about 5:20 p.m. on Monday, 26th of March, while sailing to Bale grounds, we're told. But according to the owners of the vessel, the crew on board, 3 Korean expatriates, the captain, the chief officer, and the chief engineer have been taken captive by assailants, and their whereabouts is unknown. But the vessel, we're told, has berthed at the Tema port, or the Tema Harbour as we speak. So that's the information we're getting right now. I'm bringing you a lot more detail on this because it's just news just coming through. It's a story of the vessel being hijacked 2 days ago, but the vessel has arrived without the crew on board. That's information we're getting. But Electricity Company of Ghana has invested $21 million in the supply of power distribution materials for the Ashanti region. The amount is part of a $70 million loan agreement for the company to implement various projects to improve operations and efficiency. We'll bring you some more details of that subsequent bulletins here on TV3.
All right, still on issues regarding the ECG. Construction work on the second phase of the Lejokuku Krowo Municipal Polyclinic at Nungwa in Accra has stalled following the failure of the electricity company to relocate electricity poles on the site. Frederick Clarence Williams reports the situation could delay the 2.8 million CD project scheduled to be completed in 12 months.
The phase 1 of the Lekma Polyclinic project was commissioned in December 2012. Last month, a sword-cutting ceremony for the commencement of the 2.8 million CD phase 2 extension to be completed within 12 months was performed. However, the project has stalled following the failure of electricity company to reposition low-tension poles.
Looking at the site now, you can see that some of the light poles over here, anytime there's a storm, they can fall apart and the whole Nungwa township can go into darkness. And for that matter, we are heading to ECG to come and make sure they reposition the existing high-tension cables.
The contractor, Alexander Norte Yeboah, lamented the situation could affect the completion schedule.
We're giving 12-month calendar period to complete the existing polyclinic, remodeling extension it into a general hospital with associated facilities. Looking at the...
Right, up next is some international news.
The comments follow Kim's meeting with China's President Xi Jinping in his first non-foreign trip since taking office in 2011. Kim and his wife were greeted with a banquet and a guard of honor, with the North Korean leader reportedly saying he was committed to denuclearization. China is North Korea's main economic ally. President Trump welcomed news of progress following the talks between the two leaders in Beijing after days of speculation. Trump's agreement to hold an unprecedented summit with Kim astonished many observers. The announcement, which will make Trump the first sitting U.S. president to meet a North Korean leader, came after months of hostility and a string of North Korean missile tests. An initial statement from the South Korean delegation said a meeting had been agreed and will take place in May, but no place or date has officially been set.
Up next is entertainment.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
All right, so good evening. It's now time for some entertainment news brought to you by Vodafone Power to You and Fanmax Fuel Your Day. My name is Nana Kwejuado. Now, we told you and we promised that now we are going to deliver this weekend as all is set for the Onia FM's JKT Easter celebration. Now, Onia FM, a subsidiary of the Media General Group, takes this year's Easter to celebrate with the people and chiefs of JKT in the eastern region in the Akwemuman district. Now, we caught up, we went to the town, and we've put something beautiful together for you to see happening this weekend. You can stop by the road anytime you are heading towards Atimpoko, Akosombo on this stretch, and you can, have some fun with the monkeys. Just give them some bananas or groundnuts or any other thing that you feel. They are friendly monkeys, and of course they are not here to harm you. So I'm standing right in the center of JKT, a town in the Akwemuman district, and was founded in 1710, named after one Openyin Jan. And he lived at a place called Kitty, and so they called the name JKT. Now join me on a trip to the beach side, or popularly known as the lakeside. Don't go anywhere and experience nothing, but come to Onia FM's JKT Easter at JKT Edumasa, Jena, Akosombo, Atimpoku. Every surrounding town is going to be here over the weekend to experience that agenda. So what? I am going to be here once again, and I'm urging you to come and join us. My name is Nana Kwejuado, JKT. So that's about it. This weekend we are all heading to JKT in the eastern region of Ghana. Now let's move on, and still in the month of March as we are celebrating Ghana, we caught up with the fishermen at Jamestown, and for you and yours only.
Head down at daybreak to watch the beefy fishermen haul in their nightly catches at Jamestown, a fishing community inhabited primarily by the Gars. In a typical day, apart from Tuesdays, people come there to buy fresh fish to sell. But the interesting thing is when fishermen arrive after their night catches.
Or what's the brain behind the singing? Over a million hanike agblachani bala.
If I don't know what agblachani na ala diagashi.
When the hauling of the vessel is slow, it drags the work behind, so the songs motivate and pump us up with energy to haul the boats in.
Lala kevie nyena be nyechon me alo telala akasi olete.
Oh wala lala fe ko na ba wo wo.
These are songs we already know, so all the leader has to do is to call it up and we respond.
Oh la le so de baba o eba ke ko wa ke ko no ni le new malumabo agbono ko alima koko
All right, so that's about it for entertainment and lifestyle today, brought to you by Vodafone Power to You and Fanmax Fuel Your Day. My name is Nana Kwejuado. Now, Alfred will be going with me to JKT.
Yeah, we're going to go. I like the last song, Eba. But thank you, Ken. Thank you. We're grateful for spending your 60 minutes with us here on News 360. On behalf of the rest of the team, thank you. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I am Solace Rose Gordy. Enjoy the rest of your evening.